Chapter 1270. Hearing her choking voice, Maupassant's heart skipped a beat. He lowered his head and looked at her in surprise. Was she crying? She was always happy in front of him. Unless she encountered something really sad, she would not cry easily. Maupassant furrowed his brows. He felt that this little woman was playing the pity card with him by pretending to cry. He raised his lips slightly and looked at the night view outside. Do you think that saying sorry after doing something wrong will solve everything? Who asked me to be so stupid? Who asked me to have such low self-esteem? Huang Ling said as she sobbed. Did he think that she would feel good about breaking up with him? God knew how many times she had cried under the blanket when she returned to her room alone. If not for Qing Shichen coming to look for her every night in prison to accompany her through those torturous nights, she would have cried her eyes out. Even though Maupassant's father was dead and even though Maupassant's father did not like her, she still treated him as her father-in-law. Her father-in-law was killed and she was framed as the murderer. Maupassant did not trust her and wanted to sue her. Did she feel good about that? It's not like I couldn't tell that those photos were photoshopped on purpose. Before I met Wuyo, I was not familiar with computers. How could I tell that they were photoshopped? Maupassant was stunned as his heart skipped a beat. She was not pretending to cry. She was really crying. Her tears had wet a large part of his shirt. Maupassant turned his body slightly and wanted to push her away from his embrace to look at her face. The moment he moved, Huang Ling buried her face deep into his chest and hugged him tightly as she sobbed softly. Her tears gushed out like a broken dam. The warm tears seemed to have a scorching temperature that burned the man's chest. Don't cry. Be good, don't cry. Maupassant patted her back gently, his heart aching terribly. I'm so uncomfortable holding it in. Let me cry, boo-hoo. Aina was right. People with low self-esteem don't trust the man they love. Maupassant, I don't deserve your love. It's only right for you to abandon me, nonsense. I feel terrible. I feel terrible, it's my fault. I should have accepted your apology earlier. Good girl, Huang Ling, don't cry, okay? You only know how to bully me. Do you think I'll feel better if I break up with you? Sob, sob. I apologize to you, but you ignored me. It's my fault. I won't do this again. Be good. You're the mother of the child now. You can't cry like this. This move was indeed effective. Huang Ling's crying stopped abruptly, and she sobbed softly in his arms. Maupassant held her face in his hands. Her face was full of tears, and she looked like she was about to break. It was both cute and heart-wrenching. Maupassant lowered his head and gently kissed her eyelashes and her tears. His voice was low and gentle. Don't cry, okay? Seeing her cry like this, his heart and liver ached. Huang Ling looked at him faintly. You're not angry with me anymore. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not angry anymore. Have you accepted my apology? Huang Ling, we're in love. We've already done it as husband and wife. Our bodies are fused together. Don't break up so easily in the future, okay? Huang Ling nodded her head obediently. Yes, I got it. You know that I'm so handsome. The women who like me could line up all the way to Nanjiang Bridge. There are also many women who are jealous of you. In order to break us up, they'll definitely use all sorts of methods. You have to believe in me and yourself. If anything similar happens in the future, you have to discuss it with me, okay? Chapter 1271. Huang Ling nodded, feeling a little annoyed. She shouldn't have hidden this matter. She should have discussed it with him earlier. This isn't all my fault. You told me that you were in the army, but Uncle told me that you were in France. Coincidentally, Aina is also in France. Silly girl, I'm really in the army. It was also arranged temporarily in France. In France, other than at my grandfather's house, I won't meet Aina anywhere else. Huang Ling pursed her lips, looking wronged. You don't even know. When I saw those photos, I felt like my entire soul had disappeared. Maupassant kissed her and said softly, "It's all Grandpa's fault. He made the two of us suffer so much. In the future, when the child is born, we won't let him hold it." When Huang Ling heard this, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. Is there a grandson like you? Besides, old man Ross might not even want to hold our child. Believe me, he's dying for it. I'm hungry. I didn't eat much for dinner. I only ate 2 pieces of bread when you pulled me over to cry. Now, I've almost digested it. Huang Ling pursed her lips and said faintly. Maupassant smiled gently. What do you like to eat? I'll make it for you. Huang Ling's face was listless. My appetite isn't good. I don't want to eat anything, but I'm hungry. I'll call mommy and ask. A pregnant woman is hungry and doesn't want to eat. What should she eat in this situation? Maupassant hugged her into the living room. Sit down, I'll call mommy. Huang Ling sat on the sofa and raised her head to look at Maupassant. After the misunderstanding was resolved, he was no longer angry. Her mood had also improved. It was all her fault. She should have trusted him. If she trusted him enough, she would have understood him and helped him ease the pain of losing his father. Thinking of this, Huang Ling felt very ashamed. She really wanted to slap herself. How could she not trust him? In less than a minute, Maupassant ended the call with Brenda. He put the phone on the coffee table and looked at Huang Ling tenderly. Mommy asked if you want to eat spicy food. Huang Ling thought for a moment. How about you make me a bowl of pickled cabbage noodles? I want spicy pickled vegetables. I don't have pickled cabbage at home. Pickled cabbage is a type of pickled cabbage. It's not nutritious. Huang Ling pursed her lips. However, she would vomit after eating meat. I'll make you a bowl of light noodles with enough vegetables, okay? I don't want meat. I can't eat it for the time being. It's very uncomfortable to vomit. After vomiting, his stomach and throat burned with pain. Okay. Maupassant came over and gently rubbed her head. He smiled. I'm going in to cook. Maupassant entered the kitchen. His phone, which was placed on the coffee table, received a news notification and the screen lit up. Huang Ling glanced at it and realized that it was her photo on the table. She could not help but take the phone and look at the photo on the screen. It was a photo of her alone. Her smile was bright and her eyes were curved. So beautiful. She was infected by her own smile as her lips curled into a smug smile. She moved her body and laid down on the sofa comfortably, playing with Maupassant's phone. There was nothing fun on his phone. There were no games, and he did not have many WeChat friends. He did not like to post on his circle of friends and was quiet. However, the phone in her pocket was not quiet and rang. Huang Ling put Maupassant's phone back and took out her own. Good job. It was Lu Fengfeng. The moment the call connected, Lu Fengfeng asked hurriedly, Huang Ling, what are you doing? You stupid girl, haven't you been deceived by Maupassant enough? You're going to stay there for the night. Chapter 1272. Huang Ling said, Mom, I'll explain to you later. It's all a misunderstanding. Nothing happened between him and Aina. It's his grandfather and Aina's doing. Lu Fengfeng said, you believe that? He said that for the sake of your child. Silly girl. Huang Ling said, I can't help it if you think that way. Aina has a boyfriend. Lu Fengfeng said, come back here. Huang Ling said, no. Maupassant is cooking for me. Lu Fengfeng said, I'm so angry. How can you believe everything Maupassant says? How can you be so stupid? Huang Ling said, Mom, if you love him, you have to trust him enough. Those photos were photoshopped by Aina. I can't talk to you anymore. I can smell the delicious food. I'm going to eat. With that, Huang Ling hung up without giving Lu Fengfeng a chance to speak. That stupid girl. Lu Fengfeng looked at her phone and scolded, she's really been blinded by love. No, she's been blinded by sweet nothings. She believes everything Maupassant says. Qing Shichen, who was standing behind Lu Fengfeng, smiled bitterly. Huang Ling loves Coach Mo very much. What's the use of love? A man who cheats is terrible. Maybe it's really like what she said. It's just a misunderstanding. The photos are already out. How can it be a misunderstanding? Auntie, some of the photos are really unbelievable. The photoshopped effect is even better than the live photos. Lu Fengfeng turned around and looked deeply at Qing Shichen. Shichen, I can feel that you like Huang Ling. But Huang Ling is very stubborn. Now that she's made up with Maupassant, I'm afraid that she won't leave him even if I beat her to death. It's really hard on you. Qing Shichen smiled. Auntie, you're exaggerating. It's not hard on me. I like Huang Ling. Huang Ling has never said that she likes me. Lu Fengfeng patted him on the shoulder. You're such a good young man. You'll definitely find a girl better than Huang Ling in the future. Qing Shichen smiled. I hope so. It's late. Go back and sleep. Okay, good night, Auntie. Qing Shichen turned around and returned to his room. He liked the environment here and he liked Huang Ling, but he knew that Huang Ling would never belong to him. He wasn't as outstanding as Maupassant in any aspect. At least in terms of age, he lost to him, perhaps because she was in a good mood. Huang Ling felt that Maupassant's noodles were especially delicious. She even finished the soup, but she didn't feel nauseous. It was very comfortable. Maupassant ate with her. Seeing her eating so delicious, he hooked his lips and said with a smile, Is the noodles cooked by my husband very special? Huang Ling blushed. You're not my husband. They're all asleep, aren't they? You're already pregnant, aren't you? We haven't gotten the certificate yet. We'll get it tomorrow. Huang Ling's eyes lit up. Really? Maupassant nodded his head seriously. Of course, it's true. I want to get all the documents for our child. Birth certificate, and our marriage certificate. Huang Ling propped up her head and looked at Maupassant with a smile. Momo, are we going to have a wedding? Maupassant looked at her. Yes, we're going to have a big wedding. But not this year. Huang Ling nodded her head. I understand. Actually, I want to say that we don't have to have a wedding. We just have to get all the documents. We have to keep a low profile. Maupassant looked at her playfully. How do we keep a low profile? You said it yourself earlier. You're very handsome. There are many women who like you and are jealous of me. I think it's better for us to keep a low profile. Chapter 1273. On the contrary, the more it's like this, the more high profile it is. It's best to let the whole world know that I'm Huang Ling's husband and that I love Huang Ling. Other women have to stand aside. After hearing that, Huang Ling giggled. I'm very happy, Momo. Maupassant stood up and picked up the bowl and chopsticks. Go sit in the living room. I'll wash the dishes. Huang Ling smiled. I'll do it. Don't join in the fun. Cooking is not something a woman should do. Huang Ling smiled. Your words will cause public anger. Men and women will gang up on you. Mebosin came to the sink, turned on the faucet, and washed the dishes. This is my opinion. I don't need them to nod in agreement. My woman shouldn't cook. Huang Ling walked over and hugged him gently from behind. Pressing her face against his back, she asked with a smile, why shouldn't your woman cook? Maupassant curled his lips. Because I'm cooking. Are you complaining that my cooking is not good? No, you just have to be responsible for being as beautiful as a flower. If you cook for too long, you'll inhale too much oil and your skin won't be good. If you wash the dishes too much, the skin on your hands will become rough. Hubby, I'll do these chores. There's such a reason. Go out and sit. I'll cut some fruits for you to eat. I want to stick to you. What should I do? Maupassant finished washing the dishes and straightened up. Because his hands were wet, he did not touch her. Instead, he looked at her gently and charmingly. After the shower, I'll let you stick to me as much as you want. Huang Ling scolded, evil. I'll even strip naked and let you stick to me. I'm pregnant. I can't do that. Stick to me, not that kind of thing. Even if you want to do it, I won't agree to it. Little lecherous woman. After they took a shower, Mebosin really did lie on the bed without any clothes on. Huang Ling rested her head on his muscular arms and lay comfortably on the soft bed. The beauty is in my arms, but I can't do it. Huang Ling, what do you think we should do? Your husband feels terrible. Maupassant stared at the ceiling. His eyes were deep and gloomy. It's not good to take too many cold baths. It will affect its strength and shorten its fighting time. Huang Ling blinked. But it can't hold it in. It will also spoil. Yeah, what do you think we should do? Wuyo said that in this situation, you need an inflatable doll that resembles a real woman's body. Was it you or Song Wuyo? Wuyo said so. Looks like when she was pregnant, young Master Gu slept with an inflatable doll. Maupassant smiled gloatingly. No, Wuyo said that he didn't want to. She always helped him with her mouth and hands. When Maupassant heard that, he couldn't help but think of the way she used her mouth. He turned sideways and looked up at her with an evil smile. Seeing his smile, Huang Ling knew that she had said something she shouldn't have. Wasn't she shooting herself in the foot? It's all Song Wuyo's fault. Before showering, she chatted with Song Wuyo on WeChat for a few minutes. Song Wuyo knew that the misunderstanding between her and Maupassant had been resolved and that she was going to sleep in the same bed as Maupassant. They talked about sex. Song Wuyo reminded her that they couldn't do that kind of thing in the first 3 months. If Maupassant couldn't resist and suggested to buy an inflatable doll for him, she would feel wronged if he didn't want it. She would have to use her mouth and hands to help him solve it. Huang Ling asked, does your husband sleep with an inflatable doll or with your mouth and hands? Hands and mouth. How does it feel? It feels good. Chapter 1274. Therefore, when she talked about such lewd topics with Maupassant, she recalled the conversation she had with Song Wuyo. However, she had not expected that she would end up shooting herself in the foot. Even though she could guess what Maupassant was thinking, Huang Ling pretended that she did not know anything. She yawned. So sleepy, so sleepy. Maboson's big palm followed her small hand and held it. Huang Ling was really tired as she looked at Maupassant. Momo, how about tomorrow night? Maupassant could see the fatigue on her face as he kissed her forehead and said gently, no, let's just sleep like this. He held her little hand and covered it with his own. He was naked and was not even wearing his underwear. With her hand covering it like this, it was as though all the heat was concentrated in her palm. Huang Ling exclaimed, "It's so hot. Don't be noisy. Close your eyes and sleep," Maupassant said. The man's voice sounded as though it had been rubbed by sand. It was low, hoarse, and had a strong and uncomfortable feeling. Huang Ling looked at him silently for a few seconds before closing her eyes and not daring to open them again. She did not dare to move her little hand that was being held by him. Maupassant's eyes were wide open. His face was red, wild, and handsome as his gaze was locked onto Huang Ling's face. The way she forced herself to close her eyes was extremely hilarious in Maupassant's eyes. Her little nose was wrinkled and her brows were furrowed. Maupassant lowered his head and kissed her forehead. He smiled and said, "Stupid woman." It was a dreamless sleep. When Huang Ling woke up, Maupassant had already woken up and was preparing breakfast in the kitchen. "Ah, so comfortable." Huang Ling spread out her limbs and laid down on the bed comfortably. Her lying posture was really unsightly. She took a deep breath and was in a good mood. Even her breath was sweet and carried the fragrance of delicious food. "What did Momo make for me?" Huang Ling slowly sat up and said to herself with a smile, "I'm going to brush my teeth. After washing up, we'll go out for breakfast." After entering the bathroom, he took off his pants and prepared to sit on the toilet. But when she saw that her light purple underwear was stained with coffee-colored blood, her face turned pale with fright. Because of fear, his heart was beating faster and faster, and it was thumping loudly. She pulled at her pants and stared at the blood on the underwear in horror. What was going on? Why is it bleeding again? Could it be a miscarriage? His heart was filled with more and more fear, and his hands were trembling. Huang Ling. Maupassant finished making breakfast and came in to wake her up to eat. Seeing no one in bed, he went to the bathroom door and gently knocked on the door. A pleasant voice came in. "Momo." Huang Ling's voice trembled as if she was about to cry. Maupassant's heart clenched. Without saying anything, he pushed the door open and entered. Looking at her pale face and terrified expression, Maupassant went up and asked with concern, "What's wrong? Are you scared?" "Underwear, underwear." Huang Ling stuttered. The moment she thought of her miscarriage, she felt as if her soul had left her. "Underwear?" Maupassant looked down suspiciously. There was coffee-colored secretion in the underwear. Maupassant frowned. Was it blood? He was very nervous. But in front of Huang Ling, he could not lose his composure. He helped her pull up her pants and comforted, "It's not a lot of blood. Don't be too nervous. Relax. I'll send you to the hospital." With that said, he carried her and walked out of the bathroom quickly. "I'm so scared." Huang Ling's hands grabbed onto Maupassant's clothes tightly as her voice trembled. Chapter 1275. Don't be afraid. Huang Ling, relax. Maupassant carried her and quickly left the apartment. They went straight to the hospital. After a series of examination reports came out, Huang Ling and Maupassant finally felt relieved. Fortunately, it was not a miscarriage. It was caused by insufficient progesterone. Insufficient progesterone and unstable fetus. For safety reasons, the doctor recommended Huang Ling to be hospitalized. For the sake of the child, Huang Ling and Maupassant agreed to be hospitalized. They wanted a VIP ward, which was similar to an apartment. It was also comfortable to stay in. Also, the nurses and doctors were appointed, and their attitude was good. Low progesterone caused redness. The nurse injected 3 small bottles of progesterone into Huang Ling's muscles. "This is for stuffing. 1 bottle every morning." The nurse brought the medicine prescribed by the doctor to the ward and gave it to Huang Ling. It was a big bag of medicine and a long box. Is it for today? Maupassant asked the nurse. The nurse smiled and said, yes. Stuffing it every morning. Just follow the instructions. Maupassant nodded, I know. Thank you. After the nurse went out, Maupassant took out a bottle of progesterone and opened it. It looked like a syringe. The inside of the tube was filled with ointment. The operation was very simple. Remove the cap and place the ointment. Just like an injection, press the head and push the ointment into the vagina. The tube was the size of Maupassant's finger. Maupassant looked at the tube in his hand and said, stuffing it into your body. It was a normal thing to use medicine. But when Maupassant said it, it sounded very evil. Huang Ling blushed and said, didn't the nurse say it? Stuffing a bottle of medicine every morning. Maupassant's face was gloomy. I always feel that it wants to rape you. Maupassant, can you not think about that kind of thing? Huang Ling did not know whether to laugh or cry. Maupassant locked the door and returned to the bed. I will help you. Huang Ling refused. Let me do it. Maupassant glared at her. You're going to do it yourself. What's the difference between that and rape? I want to throw my shoe at you. Maupassant, we are using drugs. Drugs, do you understand? Lie down. Huang Ling knew that she could not dissuade Maupassant at this time, so she had to lie down. Maupassant took off her pants and, after the ointment was squeezed in, Huang Ling felt a chill. Looking at her delicate body, Maupassant's eyes darkened and his lower abdomen heated up. Maupassant took the medicine tube and stuffed it in before applying the ointment. It felt like foreplay, and Maupassant was on fire. This fire burned his ears until they turned red. After squeezing the ointment, Maupassant threw the tube into the trash can. He helped Huang Ling pull up her pants and asked seriously, how do you feel? It's cold. Seeing his serious expression, Huang Ling thought that he was jealous because of the tube. She coaxed him. It's not as good as when you went in. Momo, that's just a medicine tube. Don't mind it. Maupassant heard this and rolled his eyes at her. What are you thinking about? I'm asking you, how do you feel after injecting and stuffing yourself with progesterone? Huang Ling was embarrassed when she heard this. She blushed and glared at Maupassant. You did it on purpose. Knock, knock, someone knocked on the door. Maupassant bent down and kissed Huang Ling on the lips. I'll open the door. Sen, how is Huang Ling? Why is she hospitalized all of a sudden? As soon as the door opened, Brenda came in and walked towards the bed. Old Roth also came. He followed behind Brenda. Chapter 1276. Mommy, Grandpa, you don't have to worry. Huang Ling and the child are fine. Maupassant closed the door. While going through the hospitalization procedures, Maupassant called Brenda and Lu Fengfeng and told them that Huang Ling was hospitalized. When Brenda heard that Huang Ling was hospitalized, she was so scared that her liver trembled. She quickly rushed to the hospital with Old Man Ross. Brenda heaved a sigh of relief when she heard Maupassant's words. She sat down in front of the bed and looked at Huang Ling with concern. Huang Ling, are you feeling unwell? When Huang Ling saw Brenda, she thought of how she had misunderstood Maupassant and Nana. She felt a little guilty and embarrassed. She sat up, and Brenda quickly got up to help her up. She said gently, take your time. Don't disturb the baby. Huang Ling smiled. Brenda, you're too nervous. Old Man Ross stood behind Brenda and looked at Huang Ling. Did you quarrel with Sen and disturb the baby? Is that why you're hospitalized? When she saw Old Man Ross, Huang Ling couldn't help but think of his prank and the pain she had suffered with Maupassant. Also, he was Maupassant's grandfather, but he had come to cheat her. He had picked up trash and cheated her of money for food. Huang Ling turned her face away and said angrily, "I don't like old man Ross at all." When Maupassant heard this, his eyes flashed and his lips curled up. His woman was so straightforward. Brenda, who had always been gentle and elegant, also liked the faint gloating smile. This old man deserved to be disliked by Huang Ling. Old man Ross was anxious. He hurried forward and coaxed Huang Ling nicely. "Girl, I'm very cute. You have to like me. You'll only be in a good mood if you like me. He's just an old man. He lied to me and played with me. He even wanted to separate me from my child's father. If I were to like such an old man, wouldn't I be heartless?" Old Roth looked at Huang Ling in confusion. "What the hell do you mean by lard on the heart?" How was Huang Ling supposed to explain this? Huang Ling glanced at Old Roth and said, "It's a ghost." Old man Rossi came forward and looked at Huang Ling with concern. "How's the baby? Why are you hospitalized?" Huang Ling looked straight at Old Roth. "We quarreled because of you. I'm angry." Old man Roth felt ashamed. "I was just playing with you. I didn't expect. You can't play with such things in the future. When you played with Pilata, old man Rossi's granddaughter, you almost made her break off the engagement with her fiancé." Brenda looked at old man Rossi reproachfully. "I really didn't like that guy. That's why I broke them up. That guy was alcoholic, violent, and perverted. Pilata would be beaten up if she followed him," old man Rossi said with conviction. "Isn't Pilata living a happy life now? I didn't like her husband. I wanted to break them up." "You like Huang Ling. Why did you think of this stupid idea?" "I already said that it was to test Huang Ling's trust in Sinsen." Old man Rossi spread out his hands. "Who knew? There was no trust at all." "All right." Maupassant came forward and interrupted old man Rossi and Brenda. "Let's not talk about the past. It'll affect your mood. You're not allowed to play like this outside in the future." When old man Rossi heard this, he quickly nodded like a child who was happy that he didn't have to be punished for doing something wrong. I won't do this in the future. If you dare to do this again, you're not allowed to hold my child." Huang Ling threatened him. Chapter 1277. As expected, old man Roth's expression changed when he heard that he couldn't carry the child. He grabbed Huang Ling's hand excitedly and looked at her pitifully. "No, Huang Ling. I promise you that I won't do anything else in the future. As long as you're obedient, what if the child learns from you and doesn't do well?" I'll be obedient. I'll be a good example for the child. Can you let go of my hand now?" This cute old man was very strong. Old man Roth let go of Huang Ling's smile and moved a chair over to sit down. Then, he looked at Huang Ling and giggled foolishly. Maupassant and Brenda despised him. What a silly old man. Huang Ling looked at him in amusement, then looked at Brenda and said, "Brenda, you and old man Roth don't have to worry. I'm hospitalized because my body is low in ketones." Low in ketones. Injections and medicine will improve. You don't have to be nervous. Okay. Huang Ling nodded. Brenda held Huang Ling's hand and smiled gently and kindly. "Change your way of addressing me in the future. Call me mommy like Sinsen." "Call me grandpa too," old man Roth interrupted hurriedly. Huang Ling was not pretentious. She smiled until her eyes curved. "Mommy." Brenda was very happy when she heard that. "When I was young, if only I was in better health and had a daughter. It's not bad now. A daughter-in-law is a daughter. When you call me mommy, I'm very happy to hear it. I'm even happier than when Sinsen calls me mommy." Maupassant's expression was gentle as he sat on the sofa and looked at them with a smile. Seeing that they were getting along well and that Brenda liked Huang Ling, he was gratified. It was a man's pride that his mother and his wife got along well. At least he didn't have to be caught in the middle and listen to his wife nag about his mother in front of him. Since Brenda liked to hear him call her mommy, then he would call her mommy more. Huang Ling looked at Brenda with a smile. Mommy. Good boy. Brenda was as happy as a young girl, her smile gentle and beautiful. Old Roth patted his chest. What about me? Huang Ling, call me Grandpa too. Huang Ling glanced at him coldly. Didn't you say that you like people calling you Luosi? You think the name Los is very cool. That's because I was handsome when I was young. I'm an old man now. There are also handsome old men. Is that so? Old Roth flicked his bangs. Am I more handsome, or is Sen more handsome? Sen, of course. Huang Ling and Brenda said in unison. After saying that, they were both stunned for a moment. Then, they looked at each other and smiled tacitly. Sen, look. The two women in your family are bullying me, Old Man Ross complained to Maupassant. Well done. Maupassant smiled and looked at Huang Ling dotingly. Old Man Ross pretended to be hurt and covered his heart with his palm. I'm so hurt. My heart hurts. Can you hear the sound of my heart crying? I only hear your chattering here. Maupassant attacked Old Man Ross again. Huang Ling looked at Old Man Ross and smiled. She asked Brenda, Mommy, was Old Man Ross so funny when he was young? Brenda said, no, he was a very serious person when he was young. When I was young, I was especially afraid of him. Would he hit you? Hit, if he didn't practice the piano well, hit, if he didn't eat well, hit, if he didn't write well, hit. If he didn't sing well, hit. If he didn't sleep well, hit. If he didn't make friends, hit. In short, I was beaten up by him. Chapter 1278. It's really hard on Mommy to grow up in such a violent situation. Yeah, I still have a shadow in my heart. Why don't you hit him back? Huang Ling's eyes lit up. Okay, but he's old. I don't know if he can withstand my slap. Look. Old Man Roth pointed at Huang Ling and Brenda and said to Maupassant, Sen, look at your good woman. Not only did she accuse me, she even wants to hit me. Do you think it's easy for an old man like me? It's not easy to go back to France. Uncle loves you very much. Maupassant smiled. No. Old Man Roth refused. I want to stay here with Huang Ling. I want to hold my great-grandson. Aren't you afraid of being beaten? So be it. They didn't dare. What for? Huang Ling, did you abort the child? Suddenly, a voice sounded. Lu Fengfeng rushed in. She heard someone say the word abort and thought that the child had been aborted. She looked flustered, with a trace of heartache and reluctance. She didn't see anyone else in the ward at all. She rushed in and threw herself in front of Huang Ling's bed. She looked at Huang Ling anxiously. You aborted the child. Huang Ling pursed her lips and looked at Lu Fengfeng. Didn't you want me to abort it? Lu Fengfeng sighed deeply. It's for your own good to abort it. When you get married in the future, you don't have to be blamed by your in-laws for bringing a burden. But Lu Fengfeng's expression changed and she was extremely sad. No matter what, that's my grandson. I've longed for a long time. I can't bear to part with him. Actually, it's fine if you give birth to him. I'll raise him and take care of him. It won't affect your relationship. Lu Fengfeng looked at Huang Ling with heartache. It hurts, doesn't it? A miscarriage is very harmful to a woman's body. Huang Ling, why is your life so hard? Mom, you're off topic. The child isn't aborted. Huang Ling looked at Lu Fengfeng reproachfully. I don't plan to abort it. I want to protect my child well. Lu Fengfeng was stunned. You didn't remove it. Huang Ling smiled and said, yeah, I didn't take it off. Then why are you in the hospital? Was it an accident? I didn't have a miscarriage either. You lass, why are you staying in the hospital all of a sudden? Too much money. Lu Fengfeng looked around. It was a VIP ward. She looked around and was instantly stunned because Maupassant, Brenda, and Old Man Rossi were all looking at her. You guys. Lu Fengfeng gulped. She was in such a hurry that she didn't notice Maupassant and Brenda. Brenda smiled gracefully at Lu Fengfeng. Fengfeng, you don't have to worry too much. The baby and Huang Ling are fine. Lu Fengfeng's face darkened at the thought of Maupassant sleeping with Aina and betraying her daughter. She looked at them coldly and asked angrily, what are you doing here? You still want to lie to my Huang Ling? We've never lied to Huang Ling, Brenda said. When Lu Fengfeng heard this, the corners of her mouth curled up into a mocking sneer. You're really lying with your eyes wide open. You've never lied to Huang Ling. You moved into my neighborhood, deliberately fell in front of her, and deliberately approached her. You're not lying. Brenda smiled calmly. Fengfeng, you misunderstood. I was visiting Huang Ling without Sinsen's arrangement. I didn't lie to her. Besides, I didn't say that Maupassant isn't my son. Huang Ling didn't ask my son's name either. Chapter 1279. Yes, Mom, that's not cheating, it can only be said to be playing. Huang Ling pulled Lu Fengfeng's sleeve and said. You can't play. Lu Fengfeng shook off Huang Ling's hand and glared at her. Play. You know you're being played, but you're still good with them. You're so stupid that no medicine can save you. Mom, it's not as serious as you think. Brenda and Old Man Ross are very good to me and like me very much. What's the use of them liking you? What about Maupassant? Does Maupassant like you? If he likes you, will he betray you? Lu Fengfeng hooked her finger at Maupassant. Come here. Tell us in front of us, why did you betray Huang Ling? Maupassant was very obedient. He walked over and stood in front of Lu Fengfeng. His handsome face had a gentle smile, and he was not angry because of Lu Fengfeng's reproach. This harmless smile made Lu Fengfeng stunned. Looking at him so close, she felt that her aura was not enough. Mom, don't be angry. It's a misunderstanding. Maupassant gave Lu Fengfeng a Western hug etiquette and gently hugged Lu Fengfeng. His pleasant voice sounded in Lu Fengfeng's ear. Huang Ling is not angry. What are you angry about? Lu Fengfeng was hugged and opened her eyes. She felt like she was dreaming. What's going on? Maupassant hugged her. This feeling was like being hugged by her son. Her heart moved slightly and felt warm. Especially when he called her Mom, Lu Fengfeng almost cried. What a nice mom. Huang Ling saw Maupassant hugging her mother and was moved. Maupassant treated her mother as his mother, which showed that he really loved her and respected her. Huang Ling is stupid to believe you. Lu Fengfeng was not stunned. She quickly pushed Maupassant away and looked very angry. She glanced at Maupassant. I'm not your mother. Don't call me that. Who says so? Maupassant smiled. Huang Ling and I are about to get our marriage certificate. Maupassant took out his mobile phone, pulled out the photos and handed them to Lu Fengfeng. Mom, look at these photos. You have to look at them carefully. See if you can see anything. What is it? Lu Fengfeng took the phone in confusion. When she saw the photo, her eyes widened like eggs. This is you and Ana. When Huang Ling heard this, her expression changed slightly, and a touch of embarrassment flashed across her face. Maupassant and Brenda were very calm about Lu Fengfeng's big reaction. Maupassant smiled and said, "Look further down. Look carefully at each and every one of them." Lu Fengfeng looked at them one by one. These were the files that Maupassant got from the technician who photoshopped the pictures after he found them in a city. The woman's face is clear, but the man's face and back are not. When she saw Maupassant's naked body with his hair wet and a towel wrapped around his lower body, Lu Fengfeng's eyes darkened. She looked at them carefully, not letting go of any part of the background. Suddenly, she flipped back quickly and looked at them from the beginning to the end. Why is the background of each picture different? This. Why is the background so familiar? Isn't that sofa my home? Lu Fengfeng was stunned. She took out the mobile phone and showed it to Huang Ling. "Huang Ling, look. Is the sofa in this photo our home?" Huang Ling took it and looked at it carefully. Oh my God, it was really her home. The content of the photo was the man hugging Ana and rolling on the sofa. However, the man's posture was very unnatural. The background was her home. Chapter 1280. Is it? Is it in our living room? Seeing that Huang Ling was silent, Lu Fengfeng asked again. Huang Ling nodded. Yes, the jacket on the sofa is yours. How awkward. The background was so obvious that she could not tell at that time. Lu Fengfeng raised her head and looked at Maupassant sternly. When did you and Ana sneak into my house to do such a thing? Maupassant held his forehead. Mom, these are photoshopped photos. They are not taken at the scene. Photoshopped. Take a closer look at each of them. Other than the one with the towel around me, which one of them saw my real face? Lu Fengfeng was confused. There was really none. Is there a woman in the one that saw my real face? There was really none. Just based on these photos alone, you think that I betrayed Huang Ling and slept with the woman in the photos. Am I taking the blame a little too much? Lu Fengfeng looked at the photos again. After hearing Maupassant's words, Lu Fengfeng felt that the photos were weird no matter how she looked at them. Huang Ling broke up with me after seeing these photos, Maupassant said. Lu Fengfeng returned the phone to Maupassant and poked Huang Ling's forehead in exasperation. You are really stupid. What kind of taste do you have? Can't you tell the difference between a fake photo and a real one? Huang Ling was poked in pain. She held the spot where she was poked and looked at Lu Fengfeng pitifully. My head buzzed and exploded. How could I be in the mood to analyze it carefully? Maupassant snorted and his face darkened. In the end, you don't trust me enough. If you had trusted me, you wouldn't have let the scoundrel get away with it. Sen, who are you calling a scoundrel? Old man Rossi expressed his dissatisfaction. Whoever photoshopped the photos is a scoundrel. Maupassant glanced at Old Man Rossi coldly. When Old Man Roth heard this, he chuckled. That's more like it. I got someone to Photoshop it, but it wasn't me. Is there a difference? Lu Fengfeng rolled her eyes. Your behavior makes you look more cunning. Old Man Roth was speechless. It's a misunderstanding. It's all my daddy's fault. Fengfeng, I apologize to my daddy and you. I'm sorry that you and Huang Ling have been hurt during this time. Brenda said sincerely to Lu Fengfeng. Since it was a misunderstanding, Maupassant did not betray Huang Ling, and Huang Ling was pregnant. Lu Fengfeng certainly hoped that everyone would be amiable. She smiled and glared at Huang Ling, saying, it's not all your fault. It's all Huang Ling's fault. She didn't show me the photos. If she had shown them to me, I would have noticed something. Poor eyesight. Huang Ling could only comment on herself. If you don't have an abortion, why are you staying in the hospital? Lu Fengfeng looked at Huang Ling and asked. I remember saying that my body is low in ketones. You don't have to stay in the hospital. Mom, it's red. I was scared to death. It's safer to stay in the hospital. When I was pregnant with you, my body was also low in ketones. I just had to be on time every day and stick to injections. How long did it take? 50 days. My butt was swollen, and there are still lumps. Huang Ling was surprised. That exaggerated. Would I be 10 years younger if I lied to you? Lu Fengfeng rolled her eyes. No. Eat more nutritious and light food. Stay in a happy mood. Don't be shocked. Huang Ling smiled obediently. Mom, don't worry. I won't panic. Lu Fengfeng and Brenda stayed for 2 hours before going back. After the misunderstanding was resolved, Lu Fengfeng and Brenda got along happily as before. They left the hospital happily and returned to their neighborhood. Maupassant made porridge for Huang Ling in the ward. Chapter 1281. Maupassant wanted to feed Huang Ling, but Huang Ling used the doctor's words that she needed to move more and not lie on the bed all the time to pressure him. Thus, he had to get her up and sit at the table to eat. For the sake of nutrition, Maupassant stir-fried 3 vegetables and 1 meat. The meat was stir-fried with fish slices and mushrooms. It was Huang Ling's first time eating stir-fried fish with mushrooms. It tasted good. After eating, let's go downstairs for a walk, okay? Huang Ling asked. The weather was good today. Maupassant nodded. Okay. He picked up some food for Huang Ling and looked at her tenderly. Eat more vegetables. Even if you can't eat, you still have to eat. For the baby, I can only wrong you. Perhaps it was because of her mood, but now that she was with Maupassant, Huang Ling felt that her appetite was good. But when she brushed her teeth in the morning, she would still feel nauseous. Lu Fengfeng said that this situation would gradually disappear after 4 months for some people, but some people would vomit until they were born. Huang Ling pursed her lips and said, I think that women have it hard. Giving birth is almost a lifetime. It's hard to conceive, painful to give birth, and tiring to raise. As for men, it's done at the moment of ejaculation. Before ejaculation, men are also tired, but women just lie down and enjoy. Maupassant said seriously. If you're tired, why do you want to do it so much? It's a physiological need. What can I do? Men always have many reasons. Huang Ling looked at Maupassant. Momo, how do you feel about becoming a father? I hope it's a daughter. Maupassant looked at Huang Ling gently. That's it. Huang Ling raised her eyebrows. Work harder and let my daughter become a rich man's daughter. Maupassant said. Then I can become a rich man's wife. Huang Ling smiled. Don't just talk. It's more important to eat more. Huang Ling smiled sweetly. Momo's cooking is delicious. Maupassant looked at her dotingly. I'll cook for you whenever I have time. Yes, we'll do it until we grow old together. Maupassant curled his lips seductively. That's right. We'll keep doing it until we grow old together. I believe that at that time, my stamina will still be very good. Tisk tisk. Huang Ling shook her head. This guy was thinking of evil again. Huang Ling ate a full bowl of porridge and a lot of vegetables. She also ate a few slices of fish, but she ate almost all of the mushrooms. Her whole stomach was full, and she was very satisfied. She sat lazily against the back of the chair, watching Maupassant, who was still eating with an infatuated gaze. The way Maupassant ate was very elegant, and his movements were filled with a strong aristocratic aura. It was true that beauty was in the eye of the beholder. The more she looked at this man, the more attractive and charming he became. Huang Ling asked, "Momo, when are we going to get a marriage certificate?" Maupassant looked at her with a faint smile. "Can't you wait to marry me?" "Yes, I can't wait." "Don't you want to marry me?" "No, I know that you're going to eat me up in this life. Whether I marry you or not, you're going to follow me. You're talking as if I don't have any dignity. Do you believe that I'll run away with the bull? You dare." Maupassant smiled faintly, but his eyes and tone revealed a hint of danger. "Whether I dare or not depends on your performance." Huang Ling touched her stomach gently. "I'm so full." Maupassant looked at her stomach with a gentle gaze. His child. Maupassant thought of his father, Mo Jingkai, and his face darkened. He raised his eyes and looked at Huang Ling. "Huang Ling, actually, what Daddy wanted to say to you that night was not to ask you to leave me." Chapter 1282. The moment Huang Ling heard that, she was slightly stunned. She blinked her eyes and looked at Maupassant. "What's that?" "Before meeting you, he spoke to me on the phone. He didn't really hate you." Huang Ling pursed her lips. "It's all my fault. If I had stayed to listen to him, he wouldn't have been killed." Maupassant smiled. If Li Chungjin wanted to kill him, he would definitely find a chance. "Momo, don't worry. I'll take good care of you and let Uncle rest in peace." Maupassant raised his brows. "Take care of me. I'm clearly the one taking care of you. We're respecting each other. I'll give birth to a lot of monkeys for you." Maupassant raised his brows. "That's what you said." "Don't worry, my wife. I'll work hard." Huang Ling's face heated up as she scolded, "You're not serious." Maupassant said seriously, "If I don't work hard, how can I get a better harvest?" "Silly girl." Huang Ling sat up straight and placed her hands on the table. She looked at Maupassant and asked, "Momo, is it convenient for you to return to Al now?" Maupassant nodded. "It's convenient. Li Chungjin won't dare to do anything. I still have people over there." "Where's Uncle's grave?" "I want to go and see him." "Let's talk about it after you leave the hospital." Maupassant was done eating. He stood up and cleaned up the dishes. Huang Ling leaned back lazily and looked at Maupassant with a smile. "Momo, wash it for me." Maupassant put the bowls and chopsticks on the counter. "Okay, you wash it." No. I was just joking with you." "You took it seriously." "I take every word that you say seriously." Maupassant chuckled. "You took it seriously when I said that I don't like you." Maupassant asked while washing the dishes, "Do you know how to say it?" Huang Ling smiled and shook her head. "No." After Maupassant finished washing the dishes, Huang Ling hugged him and went downstairs for a walk. Huang Ling stayed in the hospital for 3 days and then went back. When she returned to the neighborhood, she naturally stayed with Maupassant. Qing Shichen successfully interviewed at the Dragon Palace and became Gu Yanhao's secretary. Now that he had a job, he bought a well-furnished apartment in another garden near the residential area where Huang Ling lived. Qing Shichen was not the kind of person who would go to a dead end, nor was he a narrow-minded boy. Huang Ling and Maupassant had reconciled. He sincerely hoped that they could be happy for a long time. Once he got the house, he moved to Hsinchu. Maupassant, Huang Ling, Lu Fengfeng, and the others went to Qing Shichen's new home and had a big meal to celebrate Qing Shichen's new job and new home in M City. After everything was settled, Maupassant and Huang Ling went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to complete the marriage procedures. When they got home, Huang Ling sat on the sofa and looked at the marriage certificate again and again. She couldn't put it down. Maupassant brought her a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. He sat down beside her and snatched the marriage certificate from her hand. With the other hand, he handed her the orange juice. Finish it. Half a glass, not much, to replenish vitamins. Huang Ling took the glass with both hands and her eyes fell on the marriage certificate in Maupassant's hand. Her eyes were shining as if she had seen a mountain of gold. Is the marriage certificate better looking than me? Maupassant raised his eyebrows and was jealous of the marriage certificate. Huang Ling shook her head. You're good looking. You're the best looking person in the world. I don't see you holding my face and looking at it. Don't your eyes hurt from looking at the marriage certificate from the morning until now? That's our marriage certificate. There's a photo of us on it. Huang Ling's face was full of happiness. I'm going to hide it and not let you see it. No, I'll take it out and look at it when I'm bored. Huang Ling protested against Maupassant hiding the marriage certificate. Maupassant said coldly, if you're bored, you can look at me. If you still feel bored, you can touch me or even sleep with me. Chapter 1283. You wish. If you return to the army, how will I look at you, touch you, and sleep with you? I don't have any urgent missions and I don't need to go back. Young Master Gu has given me maternity leave. You're not even pregnant. What maternity leave? Huang Ling drank her orange juice. She was pregnant and had not even given birth yet. As a father, he could take maternity leave. How unfair. Knock, knock. Hearing the knocking sounds, Maupassant asked for Huang Ling's opinion. It must be my mommy and grandpa. Should I open the door for them? Huang Ling put down her cup and reached over to scratch Maupassant's chest. Momo, you heartless man. You even rejected mommy and grandpa when they came to visit. Maupassant smiled and looked at the two little hands scratching his chest. They were fair and slender and soft as if they were boneless. Scratching his chest tickled his heart. Little wild cat. Maupassant laughed. Go open the door, little rabbit. I'm not a little rabbit. I'm a wolf, a wild wolf. Maupassant leaned over and kissed Huang Ling's lips. After teasing her like this for a long time, Maupassant's kissing skills were getting better and better. Now, he could easily kiss Huang Ling until her heart was pounding and her face flushed. He nibbled her gently. Huang Ling's heart skipped a beat as if it had skipped a beat. Knock, 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 knock. Within a few seconds, Huang Ling, who was kissed until her entire body was numb, pushed Maupassant away gently and said, Go open the door. Her cheeks were red and her shy look was incomparably cute. Maupassant got up and patted her head in satisfaction. My little woman. The man's voice seemed to have magic. It was mellow and magnetic, and it made Huang Ling's heart ripple. She sat on the sofa and smiled at the man who went to open the door. My darling. Hearing the word darling, Maupassant paused in his steps. His eyes flashed. Sweetheart, that was a pretty good title. He turned around and looked at Huang Ling. Call me sweetheart from now on. Heart, liver, pig liver, beef liver, goose liver. Just call me Momo or Brother Mo. Maupassant felt uncomfortable when he heard that. Mo, he would think of her touching him. Brother Mo, he would think of him touching her chest. What liver? What liver? He thought of internal organs. Seeing his face darken, Huang Ling smiled happily and muttered, Even this can make you uncomfortable. What a good-for-nothing. As soon as Maupassant opened the door, Brenda and Old Man Ross pushed the door open and entered. Old Roth looked at Maupassant reproachfully. Why did it take so long to open the door? Are you deliberately taking your time because you know it's us? Old Man Ross was so smart to be able to guess that. Huang Ling looked at them with a smile. Huang Ling, let's get together for dinner tonight to celebrate you officially becoming my daughter-in-law. Brenda came in with several magazines. She sat down beside Huang Ling and said with a smile, Huang Ling, take a look. What kind of wedding dress do you like? Huang Ling was stunned. Wedding dress. Brenda nodded. That's right. You've already gotten your marriage certificate and have a wedding, right? Huang Ling looked up and glanced at Maupassant. She was a little confused and embarrassed. Mommy, didn't you say that we can't do both the wedding and the wedding within a year? Brenda and Old Man Ross were more open-minded. Brenda smiled and said, it's fine. I believe your daddy would like to see you in a wedding dress too. Mommy, do you mean you want me and Huang Ling to have a wedding? It's simple. We'll do it in K country. What do you think? Brenda asked Maupassant. Chapter 1284. Maupassant looked at Huang Ling, as long as you're happy. They were living a good life here. Mommy and Grandpa were very happy. As long as they were happy, they could do whatever they wanted. Maupassant also felt that there was no conflict between the wedding and his father's death. His father was buried in Country L according to the customs of Country L. His and Huang Ling's wedding was held in K country according to the customs of K country. In Huang Ling's words, he married into the family and brought Mommy and Grandpa to M City. Smiley face, since Sen Sen thinks there's no problem, let's do it. I've even chosen the date. It's the 23rd of next month, Brenda said with a smile. Huang Ling was surprised. You've chosen the date. So soon. Why was Mommy even more anxious than her? It's not soon. In another month, your belly will protrude. You won't look good in a wedding dress then, Old Man Roth said. That's right. Take a look. Which style of wedding dress do you like? We'll go to a physical store to choose. You're pregnant now, so it's not good for you to work hard. Just sit down and choose the style before trying it on. I wanted Sen Sen to find a designer to tailor it for you, but I'm afraid there won't be enough time. Brenda placed the magazine in Huang Ling's hands. Look, these 3 magazines are all wedding photo albums. There's even an introduction of the designer. Take your time to look and choose. Huang Ling took the magazine and smiled at Brenda. Thank you, Mommy. We've just arrived in K country, so the banquet will be simple. I won't even invite my good sisters from L country. As long as you take beautiful wedding photos, it's fine. Brenda looked at Maupassant and smiled kindly. Mommy only hopes that you'll live happily and peacefully after marriage. Huang Ling was touched when she heard this. She smiled and looked up at Maupassant gently. Maupassant was also looking at her. When he met her gaze, Maupassant's eyes were so gentle that water could drip out. He looked at Huang Ling and said to Brenda, Mommy, our life will be very happy. We will only be happy if you are happy, Old Man Roth said. Grandpa, are you not going back to France? Are you planning to stay here? Maupassant asked. Old Roth nodded. Yes, I'm going to live here for a long time. I don't plan to go back to France. I'm going to emigrate. Are you willing to part with your uncle? I love you more than your uncle. Boy, don't try to drive me away. I won't go. I won't chase you away. That's good. Sit down and choose a wedding dress with Huang Ling. Okay, Maupassant said with a smile. Then, he came over and sat beside Huang Ling. He took a magazine and flipped through it. Honey, do you like white or pink? White, pure and clean. All right. Maupassant smiled. You guys take your time to choose. Grandpa and I will go buy some groceries and then go to Fingfing's house to discuss dinner tonight. Huang Ling looked up at Brenda and smiled. Mommy, buy more. I'll call Wuyo and Hausie. Brenda nodded happily. Okay, the more the merrier. I'll be in charge of cooking tonight. I'll be in charge of helping, Old Man Roth said. Then, they left one after another. Huang Ling looked at the door that Old Man Roth closed and smiled. Wherever Mommy goes, Old Man Roth follows. I think Old Man Roth is very cute, like a 3-year-old child. The older the old, the more their thoughts degenerate. They're no different from children. So you have to be good to Old Man Roth and take care of him like a child. Chapter 1285. Maupassant patted Huang Ling's head and smiled dotingly. I will take good care of you all. Huang Ling looks at Maupassant with infatuation in her eyes. Momo, you're so nice. Marrying you is the happiest thing in my life. Don't flatter me. Choose the wedding dress. I'm not choosing. I'll call Wuyo and ask Wuyo to come over and help me choose. I believe in her taste. Huang Ling can't take out her phone, so she reaches out to Maupassant. Momo, give me your phone. My phone is in the room. Maupassant takes out his phone from his trouser pocket and hands it to Huang Ling. When the phone falls into her hand, Maupassant looks at her deliberately. Huang Ling was intoxicated by the look in his eyes, which was full of love and tenderness. Huang Ling takes the phone and calls Song Wuyo. Wuyo girl, guess what I'm doing? Huang Ling blinked her bright and spirited eyes. Her eyes were incomparably black, like black pearls, bright, round, and big. On the other side, Song Wuyo chuckles and says, rolling in the sheets with Maupassant. Evil, you're not serious. If we're really rolling in the sheets, why would I call you? Hearing Huang Ling's words, Maupassant's eyes deepens. He doesn't look at the wedding dress anymore. He leans on the sofa lazily with a lazy smile on his lips. His eyes are locked on Huang Ling's face affectionately. Are you choosing a diamond ring? Song Wuyo asks. Huang Ling shakes her head and chuckles. When Maupassant hears her laughter, it is as clear as a wind chime. She smiles and says, I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. I'm not choosing a diamond ring, I'm choosing a wedding dress. Song Wuyo asked, a wedding? Huang Ling nodded. Yes, Brenda said it's fine. She even chose a date, the 23rd of next month. Wuyo, come over and accompany me to choose, okay? All right. You also know that I got my marriage certificate today. My mom and Brenda said that we should get together and have a good meal. You and Hausie can bring Little Bao along. I haven't seen Little Bao in a long time and miss her very much. Okay, we'll go there in the afternoon. Gu Yanhao is free today. I'll wait for you. Huang Ling hung up the phone with a happy smile on her face. Her cheeks were rosy from happiness, and her eyes were clear and watery. She handed the phone back to Maupassant and saw that this guy was leaning against the sofa, looking at her with a very deep and serene gaze, as if he wanted to see through her. Huang Ling was stunned and had the urge to dodge. Was this man really so monstrous? Hold the phone properly. Huang Ling stuffed the phone into Maupassant's hands and smiled. Wuyo will come over in the afternoon. We'll wait for her to choose the wedding dress. Okay. Maupassant nodded, his gaze still on her. Huang Ling blinked at him. Why are you looking at me like that? Maupassant curled his lips into a devilish and seductive smile. You're beautiful. Huang Ling climbed up the pole. She touched her face, peeled her skin, and blinked happily. Really? Am I beautiful? How beautiful? You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I don't believe it. They all say that my looks are not outstanding. To me, you're already a devastatingly beautiful woman. Sweet words. Sweet words are only for you. What if our daughter is prettier than me in the future? No matter how beautiful she is, I still think that you're prettier. Huang Ling suddenly burrowed into his embrace and rubbed her head against Maupassant's chest. Momo, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. My heart is so sweet as if I've eaten candy. Chapter 1286. Maupassant smiled faintly. His eyes were gentle as he allowed the little woman to mess around in his embrace. He said gently, I'll let you eat sweets every day. Huang Ling's head was obedient now as she did not rub Maupassant's chest. However, her hands were not obedient as they rubbed against his chest like ants climbing up a tree. She purposely put on a bashful look as her hands did not stop moving. If I eat sweets every day, I'll get fat. Momo, I don't want to get fat. Maupassant looked at her and smiled. It's good to get fat. It feels good to the touch. It's fleshy. Isn't it pleasurable? I'm pleasurable now. From the moment she burrowed into his embrace, he had already reacted. The moment Huang Ling heard that, she instinctively looked at his crotch. That place was really full of vigor. Huang Ling's face heated up as she looked at Maupassant sympathetically. Momo, it's really hard on you. The moment the door is opened, you have to be a vegetarian. Maupassant nodded his head and said in all seriousness, that's right. You hit the nail on the head. How many times have I pressed on you? Huang Ling reached her hand into his collar and pulled out his chest hair. Momo, bear with it. Who asked your woman to be weak? At this time, you must not roll in the sheets. Maupassant's lower abdomen tightened from her teasing as he grabbed her hands. His gaze was deep. Don't move. If you move again, I'll really not be able to bear it. Huang Ling's eyes widened in surprise. You have a reaction when I pull out your chest hair. Maupassant glared at her. Do you have any reaction when I touch your breasts? There's a difference between chest hair and breasts, okay? Huang Ling deliberately pulled out a strand. Ah. Maupassant sucked in a breath of cold air. He clenched her soft wrist and warned her, Woman, don't pull it out. You'll get hot. Huang Ling pursed her lips and looked at Maupassant faintly. Isn't it painful to pull out hair? Why is there such a big reaction? Stupid woman, you can't understand how I feel unless you have chest hair. Maupassant let go of her. I'll go cut some fruit for you. If he didn't escape now, he would be in deep trouble if this woman set him on fire. He stood up, and the part that symbolized masculinity was like a gun, sticking straight up. Seeing this, Huang Ling's eyes twitched and she couldn't help but laugh. Momo, you're very cute. She could always flirt with him so easily. Maupassant lowered his head and looked coldly at his private part. Then, he looked back and glanced at Huang Ling, little pervert girl. Huang Ling fell on the sofa and muttered to herself, I haven't even seen Wuyo yet. Isn't that woman concubine song from the Axe dynasty? Her mind is even more evil than mine, a modern woman. She was just muttering to herself, but she didn't expect Maupassant to hear it. When Maupassant, who had just entered the kitchen, heard what she said, he froze for a moment. His hand that was holding the plate of fruits also paused. So, Song Wuyo was concubine song from the Axe dynasty. It was her arrival that allowed him to meet such a good Huang Ling. Maupassant washed the fruits, cut them, and brought them over. Huang Ling was lying on the sofa with one leg on her knee, swaying back and forth. Maupassant put down the fruits and sat down at her feet. He moved her leg away. "Don't do such a rough action." Because he was sitting there, Huang Ling couldn't bend her legs, so she had to straighten them. But there was no place for her to go, so she could only stretch her legs towards his thighs and rest her legs on Maupassant's legs. Her hands without socks were as fair as jade. Her toes were round and smooth, like cute pearls. Maupassant's gaze deepened. Suddenly, he picked up one of her legs and planted a kiss on the back of her foot. Chapter 1287. The soft touch with a hint of coldness caused Huang Ling's heart to skip a beat as though she was electrocuted. Huang Ling retracted her leg and said, "Momo, dirty." Actually, it was not dirty at all. The floor was wiped clean and she even took a hot bath after returning. Once she sat down, she did not go anywhere. Her feet were very clean. But when she thought about how her feet were used for walking and now that he was kissing, it felt weird. But she had to admit that when his kiss landed on her feet, she felt as though her entire body was electrocuted and numb. Maupassant smiled and looked at her with narrowed eyes. Not dirty. Clean. His smile was like a fox that wanted to eat her up. He rubbed her feet. A very beautiful pair of feet. Very seductive. Huang Ling smiled sweetly. She liked his compliments. In his heart, she was perfect. In her heart, he was perfect too. Maupassant kissed her feet and looked at Huang Ling, Imperial Concubine Song of the X Dynasty. What's up with that? When Huang Ling heard that, she was stunned. He heard that. Maupassant sucked on her toes and teased Huang Ling skillfully. Huang Ling felt numb as though an electric current was running through her entire body. She retracted her feet, but Maupassant did not let her do so. He looked at her with a devilish charm. "I want to know, Huang Ling. We are husband and wife now. Can you be honest with me about some things? Let me sit up." Huang Ling said. Maupassant did as she said and helped her sit up. She did not sit up. Instead, she rested her head on his thighs. She chuckled at him. "This is comfortable enough." He kissed her feet. She had a feeling. Boo-hoo. So useless. Maupassant picked up a piece of imported apple and put it in her mouth. "Tell me about it while you eat." Huang Ling took a bite of the fruit and chewed slowly. "Momo, actually, Song Wuyo and I are living by occupying other people's bodies." When Maupassant heard this, his heart palpitated slightly. Huang Ling continued, "Song Wuyo dominated my body, and I dominated Huang Ling's body." Although he had already guessed it, he was still shocked to hear it from her mouth. He looked down at the little woman in front of him. Huang Ling told him from the beginning to the end, "I was born to Ban Dekhang and Mrs. G. Air. Mrs. G. Air gave me to her sister, Yang Xiaolan, to raise. Yang Xiaolan was my father's mistress. She gave birth to a daughter, but she died at birth. Coincidentally, at this time, Mrs. G. Air sent me to Yang Xiaolan. In order to continue receiving my father's love, Yang Xiaolan lied that I was their daughter. My father believed her. When I was 5 years old, my adoptive mother died and I was brought back to the Song family. From a young age, I knew that I wouldn't have a good life in the Song family. Because my stepmother and 2 sisters looked at me like I was an enemy. From the age of 5, I lived a life worse than death in the Song family. My 2 sisters bullied me. My stepmother was fierce to me and beat me up every day as if she was on her period. My father didn't care about me at all. He only loved his 2 daughters. He brought me back to the Song family because he didn't want his flesh and blood to wander outside. he didn't love me at all. My two bad sisters often hid snakes and worms under my blanket, or pretended to be ghosts and sneaked into my room in the middle of the night to scare me. I was so scared that I cried loudly and woke up my stepmother and father. My stepmother slapped me and said that I was screaming in the middle of the night and scared her. My father blamed me for being unruly and insensible. He asked my stepmother to teach me more in the future. My stepmother used this to teach me, hit me, and scold me. Chapter 1288. Maupassant's heart ached when he heard that. It was as though he regretted not having met her earlier. Huang Ling recalled and continued, during that period of time in the Song family, I felt that my life was dark until I was 13 years old. On Gu Yanhao's birthday, my father brought the whole family to Gu Yanhao's villa for a gathering. At Gu Yanhao's villa, I met him. The first time I saw him, I fell deeply in love with him. He was like my sunshine, filling me with hope. Upon hearing that, Maupassant's expression turned ugly. That was until Huang Ling mentioned that she was seriously injured in a car accident. When she woke up, her soul was in Huang Ling's body. And when that so-called Song Wuyo woke up after she was seriously injured in a car accident and had a miscarriage, the soul of imperial concubine Song from the X dynasty ran into her body. Therefore, just like that, the two of them had an out-of-body experience and lived in someone else's body. Imperial concubine Song took over everything of mine, even my memories. She knew clearly how much I loved Gu Yanhao in the past and what I did because that head of mine had the memories of the past. As for me, I took over everything of Huang Ling, but I only had Song Wuyo's memories and not Huang Ling's. My mother said that the reason why I became a vegetable was because I committed suicide by jumping off a building for a man named Dong. At this point, Huang Ling felt very awkward. Why did women take things so hard? She looked at Maupassant carefully. Maupassant's face was very dark, so dark that it could drip water. When she saw his expression, Huang Ling's first reaction was, "Oh my God, he's so sour." She asked carefully, "Momo, are you jealous?" Maupassant stared at Huang Ling. "You actually slept with Gu Yanhao?" When Huang Ling heard that, she was so shocked that she waved her hands hurriedly. "No, no. The one who slept with Gu Yanhao was Song Wuyo, not me." "Huang Ling, you're still trying to trick me." "Momo, that was because I drank to boost my courage. Gu Yanhao was also drugged by me. Actually, it was like I was drunk. When I woke up, I didn't feel anything. I swear to God that I didn't even know what his body looked like." "Really?" Huang Ling swore. Maupassant narrowed his eyes and looked at her indifferently. "You really can't remember his body?" Huang Ling said firmly, "I don't know. If I remember, I'll be struck by lightning." She really couldn't remember. At that time, she was madly in love with Gu Yanhao. After drugging him, she wanted to use alcohol to boost her courage. Who knew that the red wine in his collection was so delicious? After drinking for a while, she became addicted. 1 bottle, 2 bottles. She had drunk 2 bottles of red wine. It felt good to drink it, but it was quite uncomfortable to be drunk. She drank it in the bedroom and was so drunk that she almost fainted. At this moment, through her blurry vision, she caught sight of Gu Yanhao pushing the door open and walking in. He then pounced on her. She screamed and fainted. When she woke up, other than a headache, it was still a headache. Towards her and Gu Yanhao, he didn't even leave her a dream. If not for the fact that she got pregnant later on, she wouldn't have known that it had succeeded. Huang Ling hugged Maupassant and said faintly, "Momo, don't be jealous. I really don't remember what Gu Yanhao's body looked like. Furthermore, if you hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten that I was Song Wuyo. Even if you were Huang Ling, you had also jumped off a building for that Zhangdong. Maupassant said with a sour tone. He was jealous even over this. Momo. Huang Ling turned her body and hugged his waist, rubbing her face against him non-stop. This position was his sensitive lower abdomen. Chapter 1289. Momo, what does Zhangdong look like? Is he a cow or a dog? I don't even have the slightest impression of him. Aren't I wrong for being jealous of this? Don't be angry, okay? It's all my fault. Huang Ling kept rubbing against him. I shouldn't have come back to life. It's all my fault. If I didn't come back to life, you wouldn't be jealous. Sigh, why did the heavens want me to come back to life? I'm already dead, but they actually let Huang Ling die and let me come back to life. When Maupassant heard this, his heart clenched slightly. He lowered his head and glared at Huang Ling. Don't talk nonsense. Huang Ling stopped rubbing, but her head was deeply buried in his lower abdomen. She muttered, I'm not talking nonsense, I'm telling the truth. My soul had already left my body in that car accident. As the saying goes, this is death, but now I'm still alive. I don't have the original owner's memories, so the original owner should have really died. All right. Maupassant finally understood what was going on. Such a miraculous thing could actually happen. He wasn't really angry. The man Huang Ling used to love was Gu Yanhao, who didn't have a past. Moreover, her past was so special. Fortunately, Gu Yanhao didn't love her, but noble consort Song who came here. Maupassant stroked Huang Ling's head. I'm not jealous. Don't talk nonsense. I didn't expect you to experience so much pain. Huang Ling, in the future, I'll only give you happiness. I won't let you suffer the slightest bit of pain. Huang Ling nodded and acted like a little girl. I know. You're 1,000 times better than Gu Yanhao. Momo, in this life, I'll follow you. If you want to abandon me, there's no door or window. Maupassant smiled. No, no. Huang Ling suddenly raised her head and looked at Maupassant faintly. Momo, do you know why Gu Yanhao fell in love with Song Wuyo, who came back to life after death? Maupassant shook his head and then asked curiously, why? Is it because her personality changed? No, because Gu Yanhao is the reincarnation of Dongfang Xian, the king of the Axe dynasty. Maupassant was shocked. So miraculous. Migu and Gu Yanhao were both men who loved Song Wuyo in their previous lives. According to Migu, they were involved in a war in their previous lives. Wait, how does Migu know about their past lives? Could it be that he's like Song Wuyo, who died in his previous life and came to this life to continue living? No, it's Migu. Huang Ling told the story of their past lives to Maupassant. After hearing it, Maupassant was shocked. Migu had reincarnated and he still had memories of his previous life. This was too fucking scary. Huang Ling looked at Maupassant, who was in a daze, and asked carefully, Momo, are you scared? Maupassant lowered his eyes and looked at her deeply. Living with a bunch of monsters, how can I not be scared? When Huang Ling heard it, she punched his chest and scolded, you're the monster. We're humans, okay? The heavens love you so much that they gave you a chance to continue your relationship. Maupassant played with Huang Ling's hair. So it was the heavens who arranged for us to meet and fall in love. What do you mean? I let you come back to life so that you can come to my side. Huang Ling, you're not Song Wuyo. You're just borrowing Song Wuyo's body to live for 21 years. Now, you have to return it to her. Gu Yanhao doesn't belong to you. I belong to you. Huang Ling thought for a moment and nodded. Then, she rubbed her face against his lower abdomen and said coquettishly, Momo is right. Momo is awesome. Chapter 1290. That sentence of hers ignited Maupassant's evil fire. Huang Ling did not dare to move as she stood there in a daze with her eyes wide open. Maupassant lowered his head. His deep eyes were filled with a raging fire. Why aren't you rubbing anymore? Maupassant. You have a reaction even like that. Huang Ling raised her head and looked at Maupassant. His behavior made her want to cry, but no tears came out. You're already on top of him. Do you think he won't have a reaction? If he doesn't even have a reaction like that, wouldn't I be useless? Maupassant pressed down on her head, not allowing her to raise it. What are you doing? Huang Ling asked. Her face was buried in its original position. Continue rubbing, the man said hoarsely. No. How about this? Maupassant stroked her silky hair. How? Huang Ling's face was filled with confusion. Unbuckle my belt, pull down the zipper, and lie on your stomach. When Huang Ling heard that, she suddenly felt like crying. This position is really evil. She did not want to do that. Boo-hoo boo-hoo, I'm your hubby, Huang Ling. We've already gotten our marriage certificate. This is not disgusting. Maupassant's gaze turned even deeper. Hubby. Huang Ling went along with his coquettishness and called him hubby. Actually, she wanted to act coquettishly and ask him to let her off. However, she did not know that her voice was like a drug that tickled Maupassant's heart and ears. He nudged her with his erection and asked with a hoarse voice, Can you feel it? Huang Ling could feel it. Maupassant pressed down on the back of Huang Ling's head with one hand while his other hand unbuckled his belt hurriedly. Huang Ling looked at his hands that were unbuckling his belt in a daze. His joints were distinct and slender like jade. Such beautiful hands. He was going to touch her body later on, oh. Just the thought of it made her feel shy. The belt was unbuckled and the zipper was pulled down. You do the rest. Maupassant lowered his head and smiled at Huang Ling. Momo, do you have to do this? Huang Ling curled her lips. Who told you to start the fire? I didn't do it on purpose. Huang Ling's face was listless. Hurry up, I can't wait. Honey, I feel terrible. Well, since you are my husband, I will satisfy you. Huang Ling sat up. She squatted down under the sofa, raised her head, and smiled sweetly at Maupassant. I won't lie down. I'll squat down. Is that okay? He was sitting while she was squatting. The distance between them was just right. Maupassant nodded. His eyes were deep and serene, as if they were leaping with lust. Phew, knock knock. Knock knock, at this moment, someone knocked on the door. Startled, Huang Ling hurriedly retreated. She raised her head and looked at Maupassant in a fluster. Is the door locked? Yes, it's locked. Maupassant held her head and said in a hoarse voice, Don't bother about it. Continue. Could it be Mommy and Grandpa? Don't bother about them. Pretend that you didn't hear anything. Maupassant was feeling really terrible. His handsome face, earphones, and neck were all red from the heat. Oh. Huang Ling could not bear to see him in such a terrible state. She lowered her head and continued. The knocking continued. Knock knock knock. Knock knock knock, don't listen. Maupassant held the back of Huang Ling's head. In Maupassant's ears, her sounded totally different. It sounded more like her moaning. He liked it when she heard such sounds. They could tug at his heartstrings, captivate him, and make him fall. Chapter 1291. 1 hour later. Huang Ling sat in front of the dressing table with her mouth open. She was looking at herself in the mirror. She patted her left and right cheekbones. Damn, it was really sore. Ah. She opened her mouth, and her upper and lower jaws touched. Luckily, she could still eat. Maupassant came out of the bathroom. He was wearing a towel, and his hair and upper body were dripping with water. The water droplets slid down his 8-pack, and he looked extremely sexy. He was wearing a towel, showing off his mermaid line. He had a body that could tempt women to commit crimes. When Huang Ling saw his figure in the mirror, she couldn't help but be stunned. Maupassant came behind her and touched her hair. He looked at her in the mirror. Your mouth is sore. Huang Ling rolled her eyes. Isn't that obvious? Useless. How long has it been? Try biting something as thick as my arm for an hour. See if it is sore. Huang Ling despised this man. He was mocking her when he was satisfied. She really wanted to beat him up. I don't need this kind of training. You have to train more in the future. I don't want to train anymore. It's like chewing a pig's stomach for 3 days. My joints are hurting. Huang Ling rubbed her cheekbones. My wife, you have worked hard. Maupassant smiled and went to the walk-in closet. He took out a set of clothes for her. Go and take a shower. Let's go out. Huang Ling turned around and looked at him. Where are we going? Let's take a walk downstairs and see how mother-in-law and mommy are doing with dinner tonight. Okay. Huang Ling got up and went into the bathroom. Her bathrobe was in the bathroom. She came out and put on her formal clothes. When Maupassant was showering just now, he asked her to join him, but she rejected him. She didn't want to be with him. If sparks were to fly between them while they were washing, she would die if they were to have another fight. Huang Ling stood under the shower and let the warm water pour on her body. She blushed when she thought of what happened just now. I actually didn't vomit. Huang Ling gently patted her own face and said with a smile, Huang Ling, you're becoming more and more like Momo. Evil, you want to do it. If you want to do it, I'll fight with you for 3 days and 3 nights after you give birth to the baby. Maupassant's seductive voice suddenly came from outside. When Huang Ling heard this, she glared at the door. She could see the figure standing at the door. Maupassant, you're shameless. You peeked at me bathing. You're my woman. If I want to watch you bathe, I can do it openly. Do I need to peek? Not only did you peek at me bathing, but you also eavesdropped on me. You're getting more and more shameless. Maupassant chuckled. Soon, you'll be as shameless as me. The door was suddenly pushed open. Huang Ling turned around, but her hands habitually crossed in front of her to protect her 2 fair mounds. Maupassant walked in openly. Stop hiding. Which part of you haven't I seen before? What a fool. Why did you come in? Of course I'm here to help my wife bathe. Your wife has hands and feet. She knows how to bathe. I just want to help you bathe. With that, Maupassant even pulled the towel on his lower body. He instantly became a sexy exhibitionist. Dinner was at Lu Fengfeng's house. This meal was Brenda's masterpiece. Lu Fengfeng helped her. The 2 women made dishes that were more delicious and sumptuous than the dishes in star-rated hotels. Gu Yanhao, Song Wuyo, Xiao Bao, Lu Jiming, Su Jing, and Mu Axian were all there. They sat around the table and ate happily. There were all kinds of dishes. There were a total of 36 dishes. Chapter 1292. Huang Ling didn't expect Brenda's culinary skills to be so good. She remembered that Imo Jinkai had asked her if she knew how to cook. Huang Ling looked at Brenda in admiration. Where could she find such a mother-in-law? Maupassant served her very well. During the meal, he was the one who put food in Huang Ling's bowl. Song Wuyo could tell that Maupassant loved Huang Ling very much. Seeing Huang Ling's face brimming with happiness, Song Wuyo was relieved. Huang Ling had found her own happiness. After the meal, Song Wuyo and Huang Ling sat together, holding a magazine to choose a wedding dress. In the end, they chose a white one. Song Wuyo said to Huang Ling, "Go and buy this wedding dress. I'll help you process it and make it more perfect." Huang Ling smiled and looked at Maupassant. "Momo, did you hear that? You have to buy it back." Maupassant nodded. "As long as my wife likes it, let alone a set, I'll buy the whole wedding dress shop." Gu Yanhao, who was holding Xiao Bao, looked at Song Wuyo silently. He had never seen her in a wedding dress. "Wuyo, choose a set for yourself too," he said. Huang Ling was surprised when she heard that. "Yes, Wuyo, choose a set too. Let's have a wedding together." Huang Ling knew that Song Wuyo and Gu Yanhao didn't have a wedding when they got married. Song Wuyo lowered her head and looked at her belly. She was pregnant for the second time, more than 3 months. Next month, her belly would be bulging and she wouldn't look pretty in a wedding dress. Gu Yanhao said, "You can process it." He looked at Lu Fengfeng. "The 23rd of next month, right?" Lu Fengfeng nodded. "I've calculated with Brenda, and I've also looked for a date. It's really suitable for a wedding banquet that day." Gu Yanhao looked at Song Wuyo tenderly. "Let's have a wedding banquet on that day too. Let's do it together." Maupassant looked at Gu Yanhao and asked, "President, do you mean that we should hold a banquet together?" Gu Yanhao smiled. "Yes, let's go together. Have you chosen a hotel?" Brenda shook her head. "I'm still choosing. Every hotel that I've taken a fancy to is very good. I'm very conflicted. I don't know which one to choose. I'll choose the venue. When the day comes, I'll contract the entire hotel." When Huang Ling heard this, she looked at Gu Yanhao in surprise. "So you're saying that you're paying for all the drinks and food?" Gu Yanhao raised his eyebrows. "Would I let you pay for it? Does that mean MOMO and I don't have to pay for our wedding?" "Who said that?" "He's going to pay for the wedding dress." Huang Ling looked at Maupassant with a smile. "MOMO, we're really getting a good deal." Maupassant smiled. "Look at how happy you are, little money grubber. Your husband is rich. Give me all the money you saved. Let me go buy and have fun. Wuyo, let's continue choosing. You just have to choose one that's looser around the waist." Huang Ling flipped through the magazine. "Let me see, how about this one?" They were choosing the wedding dress very seriously at the side, but Brenda kept staring at Xiao Bao, who was in Gu Yanhao's arms. Xiao Bao's face was round, and her eyes were big and round. Her eyeballs were very black, like obsidian, and they shone brightly. Her skin was soft and tender, and she looked young and cute. The more Brenda looked at Xiao Bao, the more she liked her. Xiao Bao was also looking at her. Her eyes were very calm, and she didn't feel afraid or shy because Brenda was staring at her. Her hair that reached her shoulders was soft and shiny. She was a very beautiful little girl. Brenda sighed. "If my granddaughter was so beautiful and cute, I would definitely love her to death." She really wanted to go up and pinch her little cheeks. When Maupassant heard this, he raised his chin proudly. "Mommy, don't worry. I'm so handsome and Huang Ling is so beautiful. Your granddaughter can only be beautiful and cute." Chapter 1293. When Gu Yanhao heard that, he raised his brows slightly and looked at Maupassant indifferently. Narcissist. Brenda smiled. Sen, mommy knows that you're handsome, but don't say it out loud. I'm telling the truth. Maupassant hooked his finger at Little Treasure and said gently, Little Treasure, come here and give Uncle Mo a hug. Song Wuyo and Huang Ling suddenly looked at Maupassant and said in unison, Uncle Mo? Maupassant looked at them calmly. Is there a problem with Uncle Mo? You're older than me. Gu Yanhao said indifferently. So, Momo, Little Treasure has to call you Uncle Mo, then, won't the president have to call me Big Brother Mo? Maupassant smiled faintly. Gu Yanhao's gaze was indifferent as he looked at Maupassant coldly. Dream on. I'm older than you. But, your authority isn't as high as his. Huang Ling pursed her lips and said. Since that's the case, why don't you guys discuss what Little Treasure should call me? Maupassant looked at everyone. Huang Ling's eyes lit up and she said with a smile, Godfather. Little Treasure calls me Godmother, so he should be calling you Godfather. Maupassant thought about it and followed Huang Ling, that's right, Godfather. Huang Ling smiled. If we have a son and Little Treasure marries over, he'll change the way he calls me. He'll call me Mom and you Dad, haha. When Brenda heard that, her eyes lit up as she looked at Little Treasure. Not bad, this little girl. She's so obedient and cute. The more I look at her, the more I like her. Her eyes are round and watery. Just looking at her makes me want to tease her. The group of people got along very well. It was only until 10 p.m. that Gu Yanhao brought Song Wuyo back to the manor. In the car, Song Wuyo was on the phone with Ban Jianing. Song Wuyo, Jianing, my sister and brother-in-law, Huang Ling and Maupassant will hold their wedding on the 23rd of next month. Are you free to come back? Ban Jianing, of course. As the younger brother, how can I not go back when my two elder sisters are holding their wedding? Song Wuyo had told Ban Jianing about her relationship with Huang Ling. The only thing she didn't say was that Ban Jianing and Muxin were her younger brother and sister-in-law in her previous life. After Ban Jianing found out about her relationship with Huang Ling, he was shocked. Then, he acted as if nothing had happened. Song Wuyo said, you just have to come back empty-handed. Don't bring me any gifts, okay? Every time Ban Jianing returned to M City, he would bring her a lot of things. She knew that these were his kind intentions, but the things he bought were not to her liking. Ban Jianing joked, I can't go back empty-handed. I want to bring a girlfriend back. Song Wuyo was shocked. Girlfriend? Jianing has a girlfriend. When Muxin heard this, her eyes widened. Ban Jianing, he had a girlfriend. Ban Jianing, do you want me to have a girlfriend? Song Wuyo, as long as you like it and as long as you get along well. Song Wuyo and Ban Jianing didn't talk for long before hanging up the phone. Muxin looked at her and asked tentatively, Sister Wuyo, Jianing has a girlfriend? Song Wuyo smiled. I don't know if that kid is joking with me or if it's true. For some reason, when Muxin heard that Ban Jianing had a girlfriend, she actually felt a little disappointed. She heard that Ban Jianing was very smart when he was studying abroad. Moreover, he was getting stronger and more handsome. His height was almost catching up with Gu Yanhao's. Moreover, he had started a media company with his classmates. The company had just started, but it was profitable. His tuition fees and living expenses didn't need to be sent by Song Wuyo. Chapter 1294. Maupassant and Huang Ling also left Lu Fingfing's house and returned to his apartment. They entered the elevator. Only the four of them were there, and the elevator was quiet. Old Man Roth looked at Huang Ling and saw that Huang Ling was slightly tired. He glanced at Maupassant and said, go back and rest. Huang Ling, you're pregnant now. There are some things you have to pay attention to. Huang Ling was confused. What is it? Of course it's about the bed. Old Man Roth snorted. Don't think I don't know. You guys must be doing it inside since you didn't open the door when I knocked in the afternoon. When Huang Ling heard this, her face immediately heated up. Oh my God, did Old Man Roth have to be so direct? So embarrassing, so embarrassing. She turned around and faced Maupassant with her back to Old Man Roth. She looked up and glared at Maupassant. It was all his fault. Maupassant hugged her and smiled elegantly. He looked at Old Man Roth and said, Grandpa, I know my limits. Old Man Roth pouted. It's good that you know your limits. My great-grandson is important. I have to warn you and remind you. Maupassant nodded. I understand how Grandpa feels. Why don't I move down and sleep with Huang Ling? Brenda suggested. When Maupassant heard this, he immediately refused. Mommy, you should stay with Grandpa. Don't disturb them downstairs. He will be very unhappy. Then you have to be careful. I know you're strong. That's why you have to be careful. Don't get out of hand and hurt Huang Ling and the fetus. I know, I know. Ding. The elevator arrived. As soon as the door opened, Maupassant pulled Huang Ling out of the elevator. Huang Ling didn't even have time to say goodbye to Brenda. When they got home, Huang Ling covered her face with both hands and stomped her feet. I'm so embarrassed. Momo, it's all your fault. If you opened the door for them, they wouldn't have said so much. Maupassant was very calm. He took off his jacket and smiled at Huang Ling. What's wrong with that? Isn't it normal for couples to make love? It's abnormal for couples not to. Ah. Huang Ling stomped her feet and glared at Maupassant. You're evil. I'm going to take a shower and go to sleep. Her shy look, in Maupassant's eyes, was extremely cute. Maupassant teased her, do you want me to wash with you? No. She didn't know how long she would have to accompany him. She was exhausted and didn't want to be so exhausted. Sheets was had and took a comfortable to take a shower too. After she came out of the shower, Maupassant helped her dry her hair. She sat in front of the dressing table, and Maupassant stood behind her. His movements were soft and full of nobility. Even the action of drying his hair was done so beautifully by him. There was really no one else like him. Huang Ling, according to the customs of Country L, when children who emigrate or work outside get married, they have to go back and burn joss paper for their deceased elders. Maupassant looked at Huang Ling in the mirror and asked with a smile, do you want to go to the capital where I grew up? Yes. Huang Ling nodded. I've long wanted to go to Country L. When you get to Country L, go burn joss paper for Daddy and come back directly. How about it? Okay. The customs of Country K are also like this, especially for close relatives. If their parents are gone, before their children get married, they have to burn joss paper at their graves and tell them that their children have found happiness and support. After drying her hair, Maupassant put the hairdryer away and hugged Huang Ling from behind. He looked at her affectionately in the mirror. I want to take you out more often. Chapter 1295. I heard that pregnant women will be in a good mood if they relax more. If they are in a good mood, their appetite will be better and the baby will have enough nutrition. Huang Ling raised her arm and hooked it around Maupassant's neck. She looked at him in the mirror. In the mirror, Maupassant looked even more like an immortal. He was so handsome that it made people jealous. Maupassant's eyes were gentle and there was a doting smile in them. His magnetic voice was even more pleasant. That's right. Mommy also said that pregnant women who exercise more won't be in so much pain when giving birth. They'll come out as soon as they poop. When Mommy gave birth to you, did she poop out as soon as she gave birth? Huang Ling asked. Poop out as soon as she poop out. Why did that sound so weird? As far as Huang Ling knew, wasn't it very, very painful to give birth to a child? Lu Fengfeng had said that when she gave birth to her, it was painful for 2 days and 1 night. Not really. Mommy said that when she gave birth to me, it was easier than other pregnant women. Those women who went into the delivery room with her screamed for a long time but still couldn't give birth. She only felt pain in her stomach and back before she gave birth. Maybe it's because Mommy has a big bone structure, so it's easier to give birth. Huang Ling chuckled. When Mommy was pregnant with me, she moved around a lot. Daddy took her on a trip. Huang Ling hooked her arms around his neck tightly. I want you to take me on a trip too. I'll satisfy you. Maupassant moved her hands away. I haven't showered yet. Don't hug me so tightly. I don't mind the smell of your sweat. Huang Ling got up and smiled at the man who walked into the bathroom. Go to sleep first. Don't wait for me. Okay. Huang Ling climbed into bed. It's so comfortable to be back in my own nest. The bed was soft, the blanket was soft, and the pillow was soft. Lying down, it was extraordinarily comfortable. She was really tired. Lying on the bed and listening to the sound of water from the bathroom, she fell asleep just like that. When Maupassant came out, she was already sleeping soundly. Maupassant walked to the bed and looked at her sleeping figure with a gentle expression. Her jet black hair spilled over the pillow, as smooth as black silk. With her eyes closed, her eyelashes were thick and curly like a small black fan. Under the illumination of the light, a faint shadow was cast, making her incomparably beautiful. The way she slept quietly was less playful and more elegant and beautiful. His heart ached for her as he thought about how rough her life had been and how much she had gone through. He bent down and kissed her tender cheek. Then, he went to the balcony and drank half a glass of red wine. The words she had said to him during the day kept ringing in his ears. He had previously guessed that she and Song Wuyo had been raised in 2 different families since they were young. Unexpectedly, their souls had transmigrated to another person's body. My Huang Ling, Maupassant was incomparably shocked by Huang Ling's encounter. His Huang Ling had actually experienced 2 lifetimes. After the wine tasting, his hair was also dry. He went back into the house and lay down on the bed gently. He was afraid that he would wake up his Huang Ling, so he got on the bed very softly. However, just as he lay down, Huang Ling snuggled into his arms like a kitten. Maupassant smiled. Silly girl. He lay on his side and hugged the little woman in his arms. The little woman found a harbor to lean on. She lay down in a comfortable position and continued to sleep. Maupassant's cold lips kissed her fragrant hair again and again. Huang Ling. Chapter 1296. The little woman's voice was lazy and soft, just like a kitten. You're still awake. Maupassant raised his eyebrows. His voice was soft and gentle. I'm asleep, Huang Ling, Brother Mo loves you. Me too. I swear, Brother Mo will never let you down. Momo, you're noisy. Huang Ling buried her face in his chest and sniffed his scent. I'm going to sleep. Don't disturb me. Maupassant smiled. Okay, I won't disturb you. After the Mid-Autumn Festival, it was late autumn. The leaves were yellow and the air was cool. The wind in the mountains blew. Huang Ling was in the graveyard, and her body was a little cold from the wind. There were fresh flowers placed in front of Mo Jinkai's grave. Maupassant and Huang Ling were both wearing black clothes and kneeling in front of the grave. Looking at the photo on the tombstone, Maupassant's expression was gloomy and his gaze was deep. He had a good relationship with his father. Being separated by life and death all of a sudden, even a strong man would be sad. Huang Ling looked a little absent-minded as she stared at the photo on the tombstone. The person in the black and white photo was upright and serious. Huang Ling still couldn't believe that Mo Jinkai was gone just like that. Her poison had lost her father just like that. Huang Ling leaned forward slightly and stroked the photo gently. "Uncle, I know you're not very satisfied with me as your daughter-in-law. However, I want to tell you that I'll do my best to be a good daughter-in-law. Maupassant and I are going to have our wedding on the 23rd of next month. Uncle, I have good news to tell you. I'm pregnant. Before you died, you asked me if I've done a checkup and if I'm really pregnant. Actually, before that, I didn't do a checkup. I said I was lying. Uncle, I'll take good care of Mommy, Grandpa, Poison and the child. Please rest in peace." After saying this, Huang Ling's eyes reddened. She wanted to cry, she was very sad. It was the kind of sadness that came from the departure of a loved one. Maupassant looked at her deeply. Even though his heart was heavy, he still looked at Huang Ling with a doting gaze. His heart ached for her when he saw her teary eyes. He reached out and held Huang Ling's hand. Huang Ling turned her head. She bumped into his smiling eyes, and her expression rippled. "Daddy likes you very much. He has accepted you as his daughter-in-law." Maupassant smiled. Huang Ling pursed her lips and looked into his eyes. "Even if you don't accept it, I'll force it. I'm going to follow you for the rest of my life. I want to spread the Mo family's influence." Maupassant looked at the picture on the tombstone. "Daddy, did you hear that? Your daughter-in-law said that she wanted to expand the Mo family. Daddy, don't worry. I'll take good care of Mommy. We'll live a good life." Maupassant and Huang Ling had just gotten up when Maupassant's gaze suddenly turned cold. His whole body pounced on Huang Ling. "Get down." Maupassant held Huang Ling down. He pressed her down on the ground. Bang! A hole suddenly appeared on the tombstone. It was caused by a bullet. When Huang Ling heard this sound, she was so frightened that she almost screamed. She raised her head and looked at the hole in horror. If Maupassant didn't have time to bring her down, the bullet would have hit Maupassant's head. Maupassant was being assassinated. Bang bang. Gunshots rang out again. Maupassant said to Huang Ling anxiously, "Stay here and don't move." "Okay." Huang Ling was scared out of her wits. She would do whatever he said. Maupassant got up and knelt on one knee. He held the gun in both hands. Bang bang bang. Bullets were fired in all directions. In front, a group of people walked towards him with guns raised. Chapter 1297. Maupassant was afraid that they would hurt Huang Ling. He got up, somersaulted, and pounced toward the next row of tombstones. After he steadied himself, he fired a few shots in front of him, somersaulted again, and landed on the next row of tombstones. When the people in front saw him jumping down row by row, they thought that he was going to escape. They all jumped down after him and chased after him. Huang Ling, who was lying there and did not dare to move, listened to the continuous gunshots. Her heart was about to stop beating. She raised her head and looked in the direction of Maupassant. She saw a group of people chasing after him and he was fighting them alone. She was so nervous that her whole body started to tremble. Would he be okay? Huang Ling's face instantly turned pale. She was only worried about Maupassant and was nervous about Maupassant. She did not know what she was doing. She stood up and looked at Maupassant nervously. He was fighting a group of people alone, and they were all holding guns. If he was not careful, he would be shot into a hornet's nest. Thinking of this, Huang Ling was even more afraid. No. No, she did not want anything to happen to her Poisson. Bang! Ah! Her Poisson was shot. Huang Ling screamed in fear. Her scream alarmed the enemies closest to her. Hearing a woman scream behind them, 2 men turned around. Then, they raised their arms mercilessly and shot at Huang Ling. Looking at the black muzzle of the gun, Huang Ling was stunned. She wanted to escape, but her legs were trembling. She could not lie down or run. Her mind was blank as she stared at Maupassant, who was shot. Under such circumstances, she did not know if she saw anyone shooting at her. She only saw her Poisson being shot. Maupassant, who was fighting the enemies, saw that Huang Ling had been discovered and was still in a dangerous state. He suddenly rushed forward and shot at the 2 enemies who wanted to kill Huang Ling. Fortunately, Huang Ling was not injured, and the 2 enemies were killed, but, ah! Huang Ling suddenly screamed, because when Maupassant was killing the 2 enemies, he couldn't keep up with them and was shot in the shoulder. Then, an enemy flew up from the row of tombstones and kicked fiercely at Maupassant. Maupassant couldn't dodge in time and was hit. After that, his entire body slammed to the side. Unfortunately, his head collided with a tombstone. Then he rolled down, and then he was shot a lot. No! Don't! Huang Ling's screams resounded through the sky. Her voice was heart-wrenching and hysterical. Bang 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 bang, bang 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 bang, in the distance, gunshots rang out again. In the sky, there were fighter jets circling in the sky from afar. One bullet after another was fired at the group of enemies. The group of enemies fell quickly. When they saw that something was wrong, some of them ran away, and some of them couldn't escape in time and were shot to death on the spot. In a short while, the group of people who had surrounded Maupassant just now was gone. Maupassant, Huang Ling screamed at the top of her lungs and rushed forward recklessly. Because she was too anxious, too scared, and too nervous, she fell down. It was very painful. But what was this? She got up, rolled, and crawled to Maupassant's side. Maupassant was lying there, struggling to sit up. But when he tried to move, the blood from his ears and nostrils flowed more fiercely, and his head became dizzier. When he saw Huang Ling running over, he simply stopped moving and lay there quietly. His head was very painful, as if it had exploded. Maupassant felt his brain tumbling and tumbling. Chapter 1298. Maupassant. Huang Ling rushed over and saw Maupassant bleeding from his nose and the holes in his clothes. She panicked and didn't know what to do. Her face was pale. Maupassant wanted to speak, but his mouth moved and he found that he couldn't make a sound. Damn it, a concussion was really painful. Even his vision was getting blurry. In the end, he fainted completely. Maupassant, Huang Ling suddenly burst into tears. Perhaps because of fear and worry, she also fainted. When she woke up, she was already in the hospital. As soon as she woke up, the first thing she did was to look for Maupassant. Song Wuyo, who was guarding her, held her down and didn't let her get out of bed. I want to see Brother Mo. Huang Ling cried and looked at Song Wuyo anxiously. How is Brother Mo? Tell me, how is Brother Mo? Song Wuyo looked serious. He's still in the emergency room. You. Wasn't Song Wuyo in K country? Why was she in L country? Song Wuyo seemed to see Huang Ling's confusion. She said, when Maupassant's men rushed over, you and he were already unconscious. Now we're in Maupassant's military hospital. We're very safe. Everything was done by Li Zhongjin. Li Zhongjin hurt Maupassant. Ah, Ho won't let him go. Huang Ling, Maupassant has been in the emergency room for 6 hours. Huang Ling had been unconscious for 6 hours. During these 6 hours, Song Wuyo and Gu Yanhao immediately rushed over when they received the news that Maupassant and Huang Ling were injured. Song Wuyo had also arrived 10 minutes ago. On the way, Gu Yanhao had already found out who had tried to assassinate Maupassant. I want to see him. Huang Ling insisted on seeing Maupassant. He's still being resuscitated. There's nothing you can do even if you go now. I want to see him. Huang Ling was angry. She stared at Song Wuyo. I can't just lie here and rest. Song Wuyo said helplessly, I'll accompany you. Yes. Song Wuyo helped Huang Ling out of bed. Huang Ling was not injured. She was just a little weak because she was unconscious. Fortunately, it didn't affect the fetus. Maupassant's brain is severely injured. He was shot. He was shot a lot. His clothes were torn. He is wearing a bulletproof vest. Huang Ling's eyes lit up when she heard that. Bulletproof vest. Song Wuyo nodded. The one you're wearing is also a bulletproof vest. Huang Ling lowered her head and looked at her black plain clothes. It turned out that it was a bulletproof vest, therefore, as long as she lay down or ran, she wouldn't be injured even if she was shot. Maupassant saw that the other party was aiming at her head, so he panicked and wanted to kill them. Thinking of this, Huang Ling regretted it very much. She wished that the person who was seriously injured was her. Song Wuyo and Huang Ling had just arrived at the emergency room when the door opened and the doctors came out. All of them looked tired. Huang Ling and Song Wuyo hadn't gotten close yet, but they heard what the doctor said to Brenda and Gu Yanhao. The surgery has been completed, but the chief's electroencephalogram is flat. He is in a deep coma, and all his brainstem reflexes have disappeared. He can't breathe on his own and is relying on an oxygen mask. Although the surgery has been completed, we have to observe him for 24 hours before we can confirm whether he is brain dead. What? Huang Ling felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Her whole body trembled. If it weren't for Song Wuyo supporting her, she would have fallen. Brain dead. Was the doctor talking about Maupassant? No. Huang Ling didn't believe it. How could Maupassant be brain dead? Maupassant couldn't be. Huang Ling suddenly quickened her pace and walked over. She stared at the doctor. You're talking nonsense. How can my husband be brain dead? Do you know how to treat people? Chapter 1299. Hearing her words, Brenda, Gu Yanhao, the doctor, and the others all looked at Huang Ling. Huang Ling walked over aggressively and glared at the doctor angrily. Brenda saw this and quickly went forward to support Huang Ling. She comforted her. Huang Ling is agitated. You have to believe in Sen. Huang Ling glanced at Brenda and then looked at the doctor angrily. Mommy, he's talking nonsense. He said that Maupassant is brain dead. I really want to slap him. It's just a suspicion. It hasn't been officially announced yet. We have to observe him for 24 hours. Brenda explained to Huang Ling and patiently comforted her. Don't be agitated. It's not good for the fetus. Huang Ling suddenly wanted to cry. Mommy, I'm not agitated. I'm afraid, Sen will be fine. The two women hugged each other. Looking at them, it was as if they were relying on each other for survival. It made people's hearts ache. Huang Ling leaned on Brenda's body and wept silently. Maupassant was still in the intensive care unit. They could only see him through the thick glass. Seeing him lying there with tubes in his body and an oxygen mask, Huang Ling's heart ached so much that she couldn't breathe. Her tears flowed, flowed, flowed. She didn't want him to be brain dead. She didn't want to hear such news. It was all her fault that Maupassant was lying here. If she had been obedient and not stood up, he wouldn't have been injured. Other than Huang Ling, Brenda and Old Man Rossi's hearts also ached. The only remaining male descendant of the Mo family was lying here just like that. Brenda and Old Man Rossi leaned against the glass and cried. They didn't know that Huang Ling had already left. Huang Ling wiped her tears and walked out of the hospital. Outside the military hospital, she bumped into Qing Shichen. Qing Shichen knew that Maupassant was injured. After getting the address from Gu Yanhao, he specially rushed from K country to L country to see him. The military hospital was heavily guarded, and the soldiers did not allow him to enter. He was pacing back and forth. He called Gu Yanhao and Huang Ling, but no one answered. When he saw Huang Ling, he was pleasantly surprised. When Huang Ling came out and saw her red and swollen eyes, Qing Shichen's heart ached. He hurried forward and stopped Huang Ling. Huang Ling. Upon seeing Qing Shichen, Huang Ling was slightly stunned. Why are you here? Qing Shichen asked, how is Coach Mo? Huang Ling's face was filled with grief. He's seriously injured. He's still under observation in the ICU. Qing Shichen, Intensive Care Unit. Coach Mo was seriously injured. Qing Shichen looked at Huang Ling. Where are you going? Huang Ling's gaze was a little absent-minded. Go and ask for forgiveness. Ask for forgiveness. Qing Shichen looked at her in surprise. Where are you going to ask for forgiveness? Huang Ling didn't answer Qing Shichen and left. Qing Shichen followed her. Where are you going? I'll go with you. Did you drive here? Qing Shichen nodded. Yes. Let's go now. Okay. They got into the car, and Qing Shichen asked, where are we going? Camel Mountain, the city's Camel Mountain. When they arrived in Country L, Maupassant brought Huang Ling back to the Mo family's old mansion. They passed by Camel Mountain. Maupassant told her about the legend of Camel Mountain. At the top of Camel Mountain, there lived a forgiving deity. It was actually a temple. Many people would go to Camel Mountain to pray when they encountered things that didn't go their way. Those who committed crimes would also be forgiven by the deity. They would pray devoutly, and those who were seriously ill at home would be healed. Therefore, devoutly praying was to walk up the stairs from the foot of the mountain. They would kowtow every 3 steps until they reached the top of the mountain. They would enter the temple and burn incense piously. Chapter 1300. When Maupassant told her about it, she only smiled. Unexpectedly, she wanted to go to Camel Mountain now. Okay. Qing Shichen started the navigation and drove towards Camel Mountain. Hearing the voice from the navigation, Qing Shichen turned to look at Huang Ling. It will take more than an hour to reach there. Do you really want to go there? Yes. Huang Ling nodded. Determination flashed in her eyes. We must go there. She wanted to save Maupassant. She hoped that Maupassant would wake up when she returned from Camel Mountain. What brain death? It was all nonsense from the military doctors. An hour later, Qing Shichen and Huang Ling stood at the foot of Camel Mountain. It was already dusk when they arrived. The late autumn sunset was so fiery that it dyed the entire earth an orange red. Camel Mountain was not a tourist area. Therefore, at this time, there was no one else except for a bald monk in a yellow robe at the small temple in the pavilion at the entrance of the stairs. Huang Ling walked to the front of the pavilion and said to the monk, "Master, I want to go up the mountain to burn incense and pray for my lover to be healthy and to wake up quickly." The temple could not refuse people who came to pray sincerely, no matter the time. The monk put his hands together and said, "Amitabha. Benefactor, pray sincerely. This poor monk will burn incense for you and pray for your lover to wake up quickly. I want to bring a bramble to ask for punishment and pray for God to forgive me." The monk looked at Huang Ling. "Benefactor, what wrong did you do?" "I did not do anything wrong in this life. I did wrong in my previous life." Therefore, she did not want the mistakes in her previous life to affect her happiness in this life. She wanted to live a happy life with Maupassant. The monk looked at Huang Ling seriously. "Benefactor, what wrong did you do in your previous life?" Huang Ling's face darkened. She thought for a while and said, "I scolded and beat people. I even used a knife to cut a pregnant woman." Qing Shichen frowned and looked at Huang Ling in confusion. It was clearly something that was done in this life, so why did he say that it was done in his previous life? The monk's expression softened and he said to Huang Ling, "These are not serious mistakes. As long as you pray sincerely, the mistakes of your previous life will be washed away. You don't have to offer a humble apology. Benefactor, please. This penniless monk will burn incense for benefactor." "Thank you." Huang Ling gave the monk a deep 90-degree bow, then walked to the stairs and began her ritual of bowing every 3 steps. Qing Shichen followed her example. After bowing to the monk, he followed Huang Ling to the stairs. He stood in front of the stairs and looked up. There was no end in sight. It was like a flight of stairs that led straight to the clouds. The stairs were so high and so long. If Huang Ling kept bowing every 3 steps, how long would it take for her to reach the top? Not to mention bowing every 3 steps, even if he didn't carry anything and walked empty-handed, he still wouldn't be able to reach the peak in one go. Walking to the top of the mountain, who knew how tired he would be? Moreover, bowing every 3 steps, Qing Shichen followed. He bowed every 3 steps and looked at Huang Ling worriedly. "Huang Ling, do you have to do this? Your body won't be able to take it." Huang Ling ignored Qing Shichen. She was praying sincerely. Every time she bowed, she silently said in her heart, "Goddess of mercy, God, all the mistakes should be blamed on me. Maupassant didn't do anything wrong. Please don't torture him anymore. Let them wake up. Huang Ling, you are pregnant now." Qing Shichen raised his voice to remind this silly woman. After bowing, Huang Ling walked 3 steps down the stairs and said to Qing Shichen lightly, "I want to pray sincerely. Don't disturb me." You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.